Hey, so somebody asked me to talk more about how I sort of navigated through the process of wealth building using like conscious creation type techniques. Um, and I will have said this many times on this channel, but I will say it again, that really Wallace Wattles and the Science of Getting Rich is my first love. It is a very straightforward guide that does not have a lot of superfluous philosophy and mysticism. It just kind of tells you what to do mentally in order to harness this thing that allows us to get what we want, despite the appearance of there not being a way or the odds being stacked against you or whatever. So the Science of Getting Rich is really where I started to think about this and apply it in earnest. And I will also say that, I have never spent much of my time thinking about this stuff in my life. Since I started this channel or since I started writing about it, I think about it during those times, or I think about something I want to say or I want to write. But when it comes to my own life and having lived out my life to this point, and the things that I've accomplished, putting a lot of mental energy into trying to make it happen, like thinking about it or wondering if I was impressing my subconscious mind and all that stuff, that I didn't spend a lot of time doing that. In fact, I just kind of knowing that it was happening was enough for me, and being certain that it would. I am going to write a post on Reddit, I think, about Neville Goddard living in the end and what Wallace Wattles says in his book about thinking and acting in the certain way, with certain meaning certainty, not like particular. But so that's sort of the setup. And I've made a couple videos on this, which I will link. I made 2 kind of long videos about like the detailed bridge of incidents and how I did things exactly. But more generally speaking, it all started with a simple desire that I believed I could achieve, which was I did not want to be employed. I wanted to make enough money to survive in the shitty way that I was accustomed to as a 19-year-old college student, without having to continue to go to my job as a female mall security guard, and to deal with the constant people leaving excrement and urine in the dressing rooms. You would not believe how often that happens. I was pretty sick of that, and I really just strongly did not want to have a job like that anymore. I think this was in the 90s, and I was getting paid, I think, like $5.75 an hour, and I just thought, wow, there has to be a way to make $5.75 an hour without going to this job. So that was where it all started. And it grew from there. The less I worked, the less I wanted to work at a job. And I was also always, I also always was willing to work, I think, for something that I wanted. Although I have definitely struggled with laziness, especially in my 20s. So really it started with just defining that one thing. So if you're at the very beginning of your it doesn't matter how old you are or what you've already done in terms of work. If you're at the beginning of, opening your mind to the possibility that you don't have to do things the way you've been doing them, I would try to define something specific that you either want or don't want. So, for me, it was like, I just don't want to go to a job anymore. I was open to being paid by somebody else. I just wanted to not, have to go be employed. It wasn't necessarily that I had some great desire to be an entrepreneur, which I ended up being, but, at the time I was just like, I want to work from home, or, just like, I was open to the idea of like, going and doing something at someone's house or something like that. I wanted an unconventional work environment that would supply me with the money I needed without me having to continuously go into a job. That was where it all started. So if you can define something like that for yourself, if in your current situation, you know, you're going to a job you don't like, you know, for you, working for yourself may not at all be what is right. There are a lot of people out there that really take a lot of comfort from being employed and going to a work environment and having a steady paycheck that they know they can count on and things like that. That never mattered to me. I've never had much of an issue with not having like a steady paycheck that I could count on. I don't know. That's just not been a problem for me. Different strokes for different folks. A lot of people, even, you know, including, of course, many extremely capable people and very smart people. This is not a character flaw in any way. I know firsthand, I know tons of amazing people that it's just working for themselves is not for them. So try to define what it is that you really want that you're not getting right now, like as finely as you can. Because once you know what it is, then at least you know the direction you're heading in. This is one of the things I love about Wallace Wattles is his language kind of paints a picture. I'm trying to think what exactly he says, but something along the lines of, you know, just as a sailor keeps the port in mind as he's sailing towards it, that's what you do, and a kind of everything that you do is sailing towards this port. So if you define that there's a certain aspect of your job or whatever that you really don't like, then you know that you want a job that doesn't have that, or you know you want to be in a situation that doesn't have that. If you don't want to be employed like me, then I'm guessing you would have a similar goal. How can I support my current lifestyle, or a lifestyle that is acceptable to me that might be much lower money, lower expenditures? How can I do that without being employed? So I can't really go any deeper than that. That's a totally personal thing for anybody who is watching this. And so you have to start at the beginning. This is my opinion and my experience. Manifesting the point I'm at now was never remotely on my mind. In fact, you know, thinking back through the years, I'm kind of amazed at how little I was thinking about retiring early or anything like that, even like 10 years ago. It wasn't until, I think 2016 or 2017 even, that it kind of dawned on me that I wasn't, you know, it was an option to not continue to work at my business forever. I think for like the first 5 or 6 years that things were really rocking and rolling and like making enough money to be comfortable and all of that, like I think I just sort of thought that I was going to be doing that forever. My mind didn't shift over to, oh wow, you know, I should really kind of be focusing on amassing enough wealth to retire. And wow, that's possible. You know, everything kind of happened so fast and incrementally that, you know, I wasn't really thinking that much further ahead than the next step. And honestly, that is what I would recommend for anyone to do, because, you know, this is my experience, what's worked for me, and it's my advice. I don't know if that's the right thing for you. I just can't repeat that enough on this channel. And I still get comments with people telling me I'm wrong and things like that. And I just, you know, I'll repeat it over and over again. You have to find your own way with all of this. All you can really do is listen to a video like this, and if something about it makes you more sure about something or clarifies something, then great. That's all that this is for. You know, it's not an instruction manual. I'm not a teacher. This is just somebody who has done it all, essentially, and who is continuing to do it and see where this all goes next, telling the story, essentially. But I guess just to, you know, give a little more info about what my thing looked like. You know, I defined that I didn't want to work for anybody else when I was 19, or that I didn't want to go to a job, that I didn't want to have a job. And then, you know, I did find a lot of ways to not have a job. I've only had one job since I was 19, and it was during a pretty low point when I essentially just did not know where my next dollar was coming from, and I had to go right out and get a job, which I did as a caregiver in a nursing home, which I did for 4 months. That's the only job that I've had since I was 19, and I'm 42 now. The arc was pretty much, I defined I didn't want to have a job. I've managed to find ways to not have a job over the years, largely thanks to people I know that have businesses that, you know, needed somebody that they could trust and that was smart to do stuff. So, you know, that helped. And as I started my own businesses, you know, the things that I needed to eventually be successful, because in my mid-20s, I decided I want to have my own business. I want to be successful. You know, I wanted, you know, working for other people, having these side gigs for successful people made me realize that that was what I wanted for myself. You know, that's a part of the Bridge of Incidence, the exposure to these things that help you define what you want in greater detail. You know, as that went on, I realized that I wanted my own business. So one thing led to another through a Bridge of Incidence, and I ended up doing, you know, one type of business, certain aspects about that I didn't like. So it transitioned to another business, and along the way I had, you know, I fell right into the knowledge that I needed to eventually be successful with marketing online. That's a big thing. It's a big part of my business that I didn't know how to do when I was first starting out. That kind of happened serendipitously through right place, right time. And eventually, you know, all of everything that I needed sort of came together and converged at a point where it was just able to take off. You know, I had the knowledge I needed, I had the motivation I needed, I had the experience I needed, I had the right thing, the right business to do. And once all those things fell into place, which they did, not by accident, it just took off from there. And there was a lot of hard work after that. You know, whether or not you think hard work is a part of anything is entirely up to you. For me, working hard is a virtue. Nothing about not working appeals to me, really. I mean, I'm lazy just like everybody else. I get burned out just like everybody else, but I don't have a problem with putting some effort forth to get what I want. I don't see anything wrong with that. If you don't want to do that, I guess that's up to you. But yeah, basically it was incremental, one foot in front of the other, defining what it was I wanted, getting lucky, having lucky breaks, you know, being in the right place at the right time, the right person showing up right when I needed it, realizing that I wanted a partner to work with me and manifesting that out of thin air in like 3 days. Yeah, but I will link to I don't want to just like go through it all because I've already said it and I can just link to those videos, so I will. But yeah, the most important takeaway from this is that from wherever you are right now, I think you need to figure out what it is about your situation that you're not happy with. Not having enough money is one thing. Not being happy with what you're doing to get money is another thing. What you need to be happy, or what you think, you know, will satisfy you in those areas, is something only you can figure out. And defining the very next step would be what I would do if you're in that situation. You know, what is the next thing you want? And then make it happen. Be certain that it will. Think and act in the certain way, as Wallace Wattles would say, with the certainty that it will happen and that you are on the path to that. That's my advice with that.